Good evening, everybody. Let's start with cultivating your motivation. And considering that we're in cyclic existence, and it's impossible to tweak cyclic existence to make it what we want it to be, then let's develop a determination to be free from it and turn to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for the guidance we need in how to free ourselves from it. And then recalling that everybody else, no matter whether we like them or don't like them, know them or don't know them, approve of them or don't approve of them, and no matter how they feel about us, the fact of the matter is everybody equally wants to be happy and not to suffer. And so understanding that, let's seek not our own personal enlightenment, but the enlightenment, the full awakening of a Buddha, so that we can be active and committed in leading all sentient beings to Buddhahood as well. And so with that kind of long-term motivation, then we'll listen to teachings on the paths and grounds this evening. So my idea for this evening is to spend the first 30 minutes going over the quiz, and the last 30 minutes then I'll continue with the topic of the Mahayana practitioner. That's the plan. Okay. Now there was one question I forgot to put on the quiz. I think there were 9 questions on your quiz. There were 10. Really? Well, I think number 4 and number 5 were repeated, weren't they? Huh?
One's the grounds and one's the artists.
So there's the relationship between 8 areas. And the protein says the ground.
Yeah, I found different answers for both.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, then the next question to add, okay, that I forgot to add is, and for people online too, to explain the 10 points by a Sangha, you know, which a Sangha explained, in which he explained the 3 characteristics. Okay, so he explained the 3 characteristics by 10 points. And so to outline those 10 points, and then how does meditating on these affect your mind? So that's the last question. Now when I typed out the first question, did I put the answer in it by mistake? No, I didn't. Okay. Because I had different, I started typing different things. So the first question you have, what's your first question? Between the paths of fundamental vehicle practitioners and those on the path of bodhisattvas. Okay, so what are the differences? Yes?
Difference in motivation.
Okay, that's one, different motivation. What are the differences?
The fundamental vehicle has the aspiration for personal peace, personal liberation, as opposed to wishing to become completely liberated or ultimate.
Okay, so the difference between aspiring for personal liberation to aspiring for full awakening. Okay, another difference.
What they focus on as far as, if they focus on the fundamental vehicle, the Four Noble Truths and the 12 links of dependent arising, sort of to fuel their renunciation. And then the bodhisattvas, well, and also meditate on emptiness. And then bodhisattvas, they use the far-reaching practices, and bodhicitta and the meditation on emptiness to fuel their paths.
Okay, so what they meditate on, the principal objects of meditation. So for the hearers, it's the Four Noble Truths. For the solitary realizers, it's dependent arising. For the bodhisattvas, you're going to have the emptiness of true existence plus the far-reaching practices. Okay. It's another difference.
Well, the outcome.
The outcome. What's the outcome?
Different. The fundamental vehicle practitioner becomes an arhat. The bodhisattva becomes a Buddha.
Okay, so the result, the fundamental vehicle practitioner becomes an arhat. The bodhisattva becomes a fully enlightened Buddha. Okay? Other differences?
How long it takes.
Okay, how long it takes?
So for the hearer, it takes a minimum of 3 lifetimes once they enter the path.
Uh-huh.
And for a solitary realizer, 100 years. And then a bodhisattva, 3 countless great years.
Okay, so the amount of time in which they accumulate merit. Yeah, so how long it takes them on the path. So the hearer, at least 3 lifetimes. The solitary realizer, at least 100 eons. The bodhisattva, at least 3 countless great eons. Okay, what else?
What they remove.
Okay, what they remove, the objects of abandonment. Let's,
The afflictive obscurations for the going to arhatship. And then the bodhisattvas not only eliminate the afflictive obscurations, but also the cognitive ones.
okay,
A
so
much more subtle level of ignorance than the arhats.
okay, so the in terms of what they eliminate, the arhat, those who follow the path to arhatship, eliminate the afflictive obscurations, which are,
Just name them all.
well,
Okay, give you some doubt. The acquired ones, and then also the innate
yeah.
functions.
But when somebody asks, what, says, what are the afflictive obscurations? What do you say?
Desire and
Looking for the list of the root afflictions, or
I've said it so many times. The short, abbreviated way of saying the afflicted obscurations.
The grasping at
The afflictions, right, duh, the afflictions. What else?
and the seeds,
And their seeds,
and the karma.
and the karma that causes rebirth in samsara. Okay, those are the afflictive obscurations. Okay, and then the bodhisattva eliminates the afflictive obscurations plus the cognitive obscurations. What are the cognitive obscurations? Or sometimes it's translated the obscurations to all knowledge, to knowing all phenomena. What are those?
The stains of the afflictions that make true existence continue to appear.
Okay, so the latencies or stains of the afflictions, and the factor of the mind that keeps perceiving true existence, or to which true existence keeps appearing. Okay. Then what are other differences between hearers and solitary, and the fundamental vehicle and bodhisattva vehicle? Yeah.
So this thing about the weight that they bear,
Oh, yeah.
the arhats bear, the fundamental vehicle practitioners bear their own weight, whereas the bodhisattvas bear the weight of all sentience.
Yeah. So the
They're concerned.
right. So the fundamental vehicle practitioners bear their own weight. In other words, they want to get themselves out of cyclic existence. The bodhisattvas bear the weight, or take on the burden, or the responsibility of freeing all living beings.
And you also mentioned that when they consider the disadvantages of being in cyclic existence, they're coming at it from a different standpoint, in the sense of one, for the fundamental vehicle, it would be more to generate the mind that wants to be liberated.
Mm-hmm.
For the bodhisattvas would be more to generate compassion.
Okay, so when they're meditating on the defects of cyclic existence, yeah, the fundamental vehicle practitioners see that in terms of themselves, the defects of cyclic existence in terms of their own lives. Bodhisattvas see them in terms of everybody's existence and cyclic existence. Okay, and so here's contemplation, or the fundamental vehicle contemplation, will lead to renunciation, and the bodhisattva contemplation will lead to compassion. Yeah?
There's also a difference in the scope of their understanding of emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
That the solitary realizer finds one reasoning or a reasoning that works, and they work that one until they're liberated, as opposed to bodhisattva that tries to learn every single aspect of it and uses all of those as their
Okay, yeah, so there's a difference in how they understand the same emptiness, but the way they approach it is slightly different. The fundamental vehicle by one reasoning, which is all they need to gain the realization, whereas the bodhisattvas approach it from many different aspects and many different reasonings, which leads to a more profound understanding, but it also enables them to teach many different reasonings to different sentient beings who have different dispositions.
Isn't there one venerable that they're, what they consider to be ignorance that they're actually eliminating? The arhats, there's an ignorance that they see. It's sort of like a fogginess of actually not knowing, where the bodhisattvas is actually an active misapprehension of how things
Okay, now that is according to the different tenet systems, how they define ignorance. Okay, from the Prasangika, everybody's eliminating the same ignorance. But from the viewpoint of the different tenet systems, they define ignorance differently. Yeah. Okay, good. Anybody think of any more? Touch the main ones?
difference between merit generated and merit takes.
Yeah, we did that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now, so second question. Explain Nagarjuna's verse, all phenomena are real, unreal, real and unreal, and not, it should be not instead of no, not real or unreal. This is what Buddha taught. Okay, so what does it mean? What does, when it says all phenomena are real, what does real mean? What's the Buddha mean when he says all phenomena are real? He's saying that they don't change? Moment to moment, okay. So he's saying that they don't have subtle impermanence, but they certainly have gross impermanence. Everybody knows that things break. Okay. When he says that they are unreal, what's he talking about?
Subtle impermanence.
That's subtle impermanence. Why are they called unreal? Because of having subtle impermanence.
Because it doesn't abide for even a moment, so there's no phenomena there that lasts.
Yeah, because it doesn't abide for the next moment, so what's there that's real that you can hold on to? Okay, when he said that they're both real and unreal, what did he mean?
For common people, if they're childish, they're real, and for the wise ones, they are not.
Okay, so for the childish, they're real. For the wise ones, they're unreal. Who are the childish?
Us.
Ordinary. What's an ordinary being?
Someone who has still in some sense.
Yeah, non-Arya, so somebody who hasn't realized emptiness directly. Okay, and then for the wise ones, who's that? The Aryas. But are phenomena unreal to every mind of an Arya? No. In the post-meditation time. Okay. Yeah, because in the meditation time, meditative equipoise on emptiness, they only have the appearance of emptiness, nothing else. So seeing them as unreal, in this sense because of subtle impermanence would happen in the post-meditation time. Okay. And when he said that they're not real or unreal, what did he mean?
That both phenomena that are undergo subtle impermanence and those that are unconditioned permanent phenomena are going to be inherent existence.
Okay, so that the real phenomena, those that don't undergo subtle impermanence, in other words, permanent phenomena, and the unreal phenomena, in other words, those that are subject to subtle impermanence, that both of those are empty of true existence. Now, why did the Buddha teach these different things that don't seem to necessarily coincide?
Because he's a skillful teacher.
Because he's a skillful teacher. So what is being a skillful teacher in this situation?
By meeting people where they're at and winning their trust and confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the first one, though, he throws in that little piece about everything that's real as that element of impermanence. And so these four teachings build where people are at.
Okay, so he's talking to people according to where they're at. When he first says that they're real, he's corresponding to the ordinary worldly view that, you know, okay, things break, but there's not subtle impermanence. Okay, and he does that to build people's trust in himself as a teacher, and to also to begin to lead them to the correct view. Okay, and then after that he teaches that they're all unreal, and then both, and then neither. Okay.
That's providing medicines for all.
Yeah, so he's providing medicine for everybody. Okay.
Question about this?
Yeah.
So then in the root text, when they have the verses by Aryadeva, and you mentioned that there was another translation that was better, they talk, the whole thing is reference, never says anything about permanence, it always talks about true existence.
Yeah. So that was a different quotation. The one by Aryadeva was a different quotation, but it was similar, you know, in that it's designed to show how the Buddha taught different things for different mentalities of people, but it's not meant to be exactly the
Was it trying to
same.
explain that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because Aryadeva said they're existent and non-existent. Yeah, so a little bit different there. Okay. So we did question 2 and 3. Question 4. Now, I think I erased one of them, but I have question 4. What is the relationship between the 8 types of fundamental vehicle aryas and the 5 fundamental vehicle paths? Okay, so you can draw a diagram or make an outline if you want to. So what did you come up? What's the relationship between the 8 types of aryas, fundamental vehicle aryas, and the 5 paths? Who's on what kind of path? Okay, so first, what are the 8 kind of fundamental vehicle aryas? Approacher and abider to stream entry. That's 2.
Approacher and abider to once returner.
Okay, approacher and abider to once returner.
Approacher and abider to non-returner.
Approacher and abider to non-returner, and approacher and abider to arhat. Okay, so the approacher to stream entry, what path is that person on? Path of seeing. Okay, uninterrupted path of seeing, more specifically. Okay, and the abider in the fruit of stream entry? Liberated path. Okay, or also it could be post-meditation time. There's still an abider after they come out of their meditation. It's not that, you know, you're only a stream enterer in meditation, and when you walk around you aren't. No, also when you come out of your meditation you are. Okay, and then approacher to once returner? Path of meditation. And abider in once returner?
Path of meditation. Still on the path of meditation.
liberated path, path of meditation, or post-meditation time. Okay? And then approacher to never returner, path of meditation, and uninterrupted path, and abider is the liberated path or post-meditation. Abider, approacher to arhat. They're still on the path of meditation, aren't they? And then the abider in the fruit of arhatship? Path of no more learning.
I don't get how wouldn't they always be in the uninterrupted path?
Who?
There's like of these different ones, the 80.
Yeah.
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are on the path of meditation.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they always, until they're one moment before going on to the path of meditation?
No, they're not. Okay, so all the 5 that are on the path of meditation, remember that there's 9 different uninterrupted paths in the path of meditation. Yeah, because each one you're eliminating a different, amount of the afflictions. Remember the 81 afflictions, and they're divided into 9 groups. So each one you're eliminating one, and so each one you have an uninterrupted path and then a liberated path. Okay. Why are the stream mentors called stream mentors?
To enter the stream to nirvana.
Yeah, they've entered the stream to nirvana. Yeah, they're going towards nirvana. It's sure. Okay. Why are the once returners called once returners?
Desire realm.
Okay, so they're only reborn in the desire realm one more time. And the non-returners, how do they get their name? So they're not reborn in the desire realm anymore. What realms are they reborn in then? Form and formless. Particularly, actually, the non-returners in the form realm. Yeah, there's a special gated community that only is open to non-returners in the form realm. Okay. And what does arhat mean? Foe destroyer. And why are they called foe destroyers? Okay, they've destroyed the foe of the afflictions. Okay, is the Buddha an arhat?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And Mahayana arhat. Right. Okay, then what's the relationship between these 8 aryas, these 8 aryas, and then the 8 grounds? Huh? Is that the question?
It's about paths, I think.
Oh, what's the question?
What is the relationship between the 8 fundamental vehicle grounds and the 5 fundamental vehicle paths?
Okay, so we can do that, yeah. Yeah, the relationship between the 8 fundamental vehicle grounds and the 5 fundamental vehicle paths. So what's the first ground? The ground of what?
Of lineage.
Of lineage. And what does that mean?
The 4 stages of path preparation, because that fundamental vehicle practitioner is kind of fermenting themselves.
They're definite in their lineage. In other words, they're definitely going to go towards nirvana. Okay, so they're in the path of preparation. Are they aryas?
No. They haven't realized emptiness
Yeah,
yet.
no. Yeah, they haven't realized emptiness directly yet. Then the second ground is called ground of the 8th. And what does that refer to? What?
The approacher to stream enter
Is-
to count backwards from arhatship.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Okay, the approacher to stream enterer, and which is on the path of seeing, and it's called the 8th because you're counting backwards from Arhat to that one. Okay. Then the third one? Ground of seeing. And who's that? The divider and stream entry. What path? Path of seeing. Why is it called ground of seeing?
Because they're seeing
Because it's the first time they see emptiness directly. Okay, the fourth ground? Ground of diminishment. What does that mean?
The afflictions are diminishing.
The afflictions are diminishing.
6 of the desire realm of afflictions.
Okay, so specifically the desire realm afflictions. And who does the ground of diminishment refer to? Yeah, the abider and once returner, because they have diminished the desire realm afflictions. Okay, and then the fifth ground? The ground of freedom, and who's that? Okay, so that's abider and non-returner. Why is that called ground of freedom?
Free from the desire realm.
They are free from the desire realm. Yay! And they're on what path?
Path meditation.
Path meditation. Okay. Then the sixth one?
Grounds of hearers.
Grounds of hearers. What does that refer to?
Approachers. Those three that were put together on the
Once
stage.
returner.
Once returner, non-returner, and
Arhat.
Yeah. Okay. So the three approachers of to once returner, non-returner, and Arhat. Okay. And what paths are they on?
Meditation.
Path of meditation.
first two. The abider of non-returner.
No, they're all-
No, they're all approachers. The paths of hearers, or the grounds of hearers, refer to the three abiders, or the three approachers. The three approachers. So, because we've already gone through the abiders.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, why are those called the grounds of hearers?
Because we need a category for them.
Yeah, they need a category for them because they're grounds that hears, you know, you need to mention the approachers somewhere, so they're there. Okay, what's the seventh one?
The ground of realizing completion.
The ground of realizing completion, and what does that refer to?
The body and the fruit of a full destroyer.
Okay, so somebody who's an abider in the fruit of foe destroyer, in the path of no more learning. Why is it called path of no more learning?
Because they realize the fruits of the hearer's path.
Because they realize the fruit of the hearer path. Does that mean they have nothing more to learn?
No.
What do they still have to learn?
Almost everything.
Yeah, they still don't have full omniscience, do they? So they have to learn the bodhisattva path and practice that. Yeah, when they get woken up and sent to the bodhisattva path, where on the bodhisattva path do they plug in? Path of accumulation. But why? They've already realized emptiness. Why don't they go to path of seeing?
They don't have spontaneous bodhicitta.
Yeah. But by the time you enter the path of accumulation, you have spontaneous bodhicitta.
Not an arhat.
But when an arhat enters the Mahayana path of accumulation, they have spontaneous bodhicitta. Why can't they generate spontaneous bodhicitta and go right to the Mahayana path of seeing?
You don't have enough merit.
They don't have enough merit. Okay? So they need to gather the merit that first boosts them to the path of preparation, and then boosts them to the path of seeing, and then on up. Okay? Good.
So can I ask you a question about that last point?
Yeah.
So is that, when you think of that like a real person who you know, would it just be kind of partly that they haven't had all the kind of interactions that you have that would put the kind of development in your mind stream of the sixth perfection?
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't have interacted with Joe Blow in a way that would have caused it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so why are these people in the hair vehicle to start with? Well, one reason is you know, they haven't met Mahayana teachers. Okay? But, you know, even you meet a Mahayana teacher, it's no guarantee that you're going to be in the Mahayana vehicle, because it also depends on your disposition, the way you've, what you've familiarized your mind with in previous times. Yeah? Depends on your way of thinking this life, how much effort you want to put into practicing the path. Okay? But definitely meeting a Mahayana teacher is a real crucial thing. Yeah, that's very crucial. And just even hearing about the Bodhisattva path is crucial. Having some fondness for the Bodhisattva path because of what you've studied and what you've meditated on in a previous life.
Well, I have a similar question. Just here as ordinary people doing our best to try to even to remember to dedicate our merit so that it ripens in that way. We are accumulating merit that, assuming when we get to realizing bodhicitta and beyond the path of accumulation, this continues to ripen, right? So this is part of the load that we actually carry as nobody practitioners that are
Okay.
Is that right?
Okay. So the question is, as you know, the little wimps that we are now, we're Mahayana wimps. Okay. Okay, we're Mahayana wimps, but compared to the Arhats, okay, we're still dedicating for full awakening, aren't we? Yeah. So that's different than somebody who's progressing along the path to Arhatship, even if they've realized emptiness. Yeah, because they're mainly dedicating for their own liberation. Yeah, whereas we're from the very get-go, again and again and again. That's why we keep cultivating our bodhicitta motivation, even, you know, how many times a day. Yeah, even as you were at another stand-up meeting and somebody's saying the same words they said yesterday and it sounds very rote, but we're still doing it, aren't we? And we dedicate every session, you know, for full Buddhahood, and so our bodhicitta can increase and never decline. So it's going in there, isn't it? Yeah, so it's making some kind of difference. Yeah.
So a person who never heard of the Mahayana path and pursued the Mahayana vehicle path, and then they're an arhat, would they refer to themselves as a Buddha? I'm really confused.
No,
Would they say, I've reached Buddhahood?
No.
They wouldn't. They
No.
wouldn't think that.
No, somebody who's a fundamental vehicle arhat, they wouldn't say they've attained Buddhahood. They would say that they've attained, you know, their awakening or their enlightenment. Okay? Because we can talk about the enlightenment of the three vehicles. Okay? So so we usually use the word enlightenment to mean full enlightenment, but more accurately the word enlightenment, there's the three enlightenments, the one of the here, the one of the solitary realizer, the one of the bodhisattva. Okay? And the first two means that they've become arhats. And then the last one, when you've become a Buddha, that's full enlightenment or full awakening. Okay? So an arhat would never say they're a Buddha.
They wouldn't expect to go further.
No, because they've wanted to get out of samsara, and they've done that. And they're content with that. They're satisfied and fulfilled with that. Okay? Okay. So we'll come back and do the rest of the quiz next time. Yeah, it's helpful having to do this, isn't it? You know, you have to really go back and study these things again and imprint them on your mind somehow. Okay, so you know, to go back to, we're starting to talk about the Mahayana vehicle, yeah, and so to enter the Mahayana vehicle on the path of accumulation, the demarcation there is having, you know, true bodhicitta, spontaneous bodhicitta. So there's two general ways in which you can, two methods to generate bodhicitta. One is called the 7-point instruction of cause and effect. And the second one is equalizing and exchanging self and others. And that one's from Shantideva. Okay, so you have those two methods, but as a preliminary to both of those methods, in addition to meditating on, the Four Noble Truths and renunciation and everything like that to generate renunciation, then there's the meditation on equanimity. Okay, so equanimity is a precursor to both the 7-point instruction of cause and effect and equalizing and exchanging self and others. Okay, so equanimity is a very, very important meditation, and it comes first because if we don't have equanimity, then we may meditate on the kindness of others, but we're going to see some sentient beings as kinder than others. And when we meditate on love, we're going to feel more affection for some and less for others. When we meditate on compassion, we'll have compassion for the people we like and not for the people we don't like. So in order to really generate Mahayana love and compassion, we have to have some kind of equanimity. Yeah, so that's for practicing the path. In terms of just even living a happy life this lifetime, equanimity is incredibly helpful. Okay, because right now our mind is not very equanimous. Right now we divide people into 3 categories. Friend, which means everybody we like, everybody we're attached to. Enemy, everybody we don't like, who we feel threatened by, who we have aversion for. Okay, and stranger, everybody that we don't care much about. Okay, so isn't that true? Whenever you look at somebody, you kind of put them in one category or the other. It's true, isn't it? I mean, it's just habitual. We look around, and somebody can go from one category to the next category in a space of minutes, can't they? Yeah. If they agree with you on what to cook for lunch, they go in the friend category. If they disagree with you with what to cook for lunch, they go in the enemy category. I mean, somebody may basically be more or less in the friend category, but when you get mad at them, they're in the enemy category, at least for, some period of time. Yeah, isn't it? So our minds are very much like yo-yos, up and down and up and down and up and down. Yeah, really like yo-yos. Yeah. So when the kitten's cute, she goes in the friend category. Yeah, when she, tears up something you're working on, she goes in the enemy category. Okay? Then when she's cute again, we toss her back in the friend category. Okay, so what's the problem with this? Yeah, what's the problem? Well, on an emotional level, we're emotional yo-yos. Yeah, so just in our life, it creates a problem. And then second, for, like I was saying, in order to really generate, true love and compassion, it's got to be impartial towards everybody. I mean, if you think about the Buddha, how would, somebody who plays favorites, would you consider that person an enlightened being? No. I mean, one of the qualities, why do we trust the Buddha? Because he doesn't play favorites. Yeah, because he wishes, the best for everybody, regardless of how they treat him, regardless of whether they're Buddhists and offer him bananas, or whether they, curse him or whatever. The Buddha works for the benefit of sentient beings on an equal level and cherishes them all equally. So you can see that any kind of partiality would really not fit in with an idea of an awakened being. Okay. Now, how do we overcome seeing some beings as very dear and other beings as not dear? How do we overcome that? Do you have ideas? Yes? She says, anybody who gives me food or a toy is dear. Yeah. Okay. Think about it for a minute. Yeah. Why are you attached to your friends? If you think, think about a friend you have. Yeah. And why do you feel so fond of that friend? Why are you attached to them? You want to be with them. You don't want to be separated. Why?
They're kind to you.
Huh?
They're kind to you.
Yeah.
They treat you well. They make you feel good.
Yeah, they're kind to us. They treat us well. They make us feel good. Yeah.
They're accepting of us.
They're accepting of us.
Do what we want.
They do what we want.
We have things in common.
We have things in common.
They listen to our complaints and our griping about others.
They listen to our complaints and our griping about others.
They agree.
And they agree. That's important. They agree. They support us.
Even if they don't agree, they support it.
Yeah. Okay. Now think about somebody, when I use the word enemy, I don't mean like a wartime enemy. It could mean that. But just somebody that you have aversion for. Okay, so why do you have aversion for enemies?
They don't agree with you.
They don't agree with us.
You don't get what you want.
They don't give us what we want.
They don't get us.
They don't get us. Yeah.
Meet our expectations.
They don't meet our expectations.
Share our views.
They don't share our views. They have wrong views. Not just that they don't share our views, they have wrong views. What else?
They express ill will or feelings towards you.
Okay, so they express bad feelings, negative feelings, or ill will, or they want to harm us, or something like that.
They point out our faults.
They talk about our faults. Okay. And strangers, why do we feel neutral, apathetic?
No interest.
No interest?
They don't do anything for us.
They don't do anything for us one way or the other.
Against us.
Huh?
Or against us.
Yeah, they're not for us. They're not against us. They're like the cup. Just there. Okay? So in this, when we're looking at why we have attachment for friends, aversion for enemies, and apathy for strangers, what word do you hear continuously in the discussion? Me. Me. They're nice to me, they agree with my ideas, they support me, they encourage me, they threaten me, they talk about my faults, they don't agree with me, they forget my birthday, they don't affect me one way or the other, they don't, give me happiness, they don't give me pain. So all these categories, are fabricated from the viewpoint of me being the center of the universe. Okay. When we look at friends, enemies, and strangers, do we think that somebody's a friend, enemy, or stranger because we're making them one? No, we think that they are a friend, enemy, or stranger from their own side, irrespective of us. That person is an inherently nice person. That person is an inherently rotten person. And this person, I don't even think about, a stranger. Okay? So we think that people are friends or enemies from their own side inherently. In other words, that whoever we consider a friend, everybody should consider a friend, because that person really is a good person. And everybody who we consider as an awful person, as an enemy, the whole world should, because from their side they're really awful. Yeah, they have absolutely no redeeming qualities. Okay, but the problem is that the person who's our friend, somebody else thinks is an idiot and thinks is full of bad qualities. And the person we think is an enemy and doesn't know, you know, well, I won't express it that way, but, you know, somebody who doesn't know anything is the most beloved person of another person, you know, somebody else's most beloved person. So how could that be if there are inherently existent good people and inherently existent bad people, inherently existent friends, inherently existent enemies? How can it be that other people see them differently than we see them?
They're wrong.
They're wrong.
Yeah, they're wrong. That's all there is to it. They're wrong. Okay. But then sometimes it happens that even our friends see things. Yeah, they like somebody that we don't. Or have you ever had a friend who votes for a different political candidate than you do? No. As soon as they vote for a different political candidate, they are no longer a friend forever. Okay, so do you see how we're fabricating these categories? And then how our emotional responses to these are completely fabricated, dependent on how we want to see the person. Yeah? Can you think of somebody who you think is wonderful, who somebody else can't stand? Yeah? Huh?
Yourself. He's got himself.
Okay. Can you think of somebody you can't stand, who's somebody else's dear one? Yeah, even, I mean, you look at Adolf Hitler. You know, his wife thought he was great. And all of his henchmen thought he was fantastic. Yeah, so, so are our categories, how we categorize people, is that very reliable? No, it isn't, is it? It's completely made up. Totally subjective, totally made up, totally coming from our own mind. Yeah. And you can really see how subjective and off the wall it is. Because we say, oh, so-and-so has so many good qualities. They're kind, they're generous. What we really mean is they're kind and generous to me, or to the other people I like. If they were kind and generous to the opposing political party, would we think that they were nice? If they were kind and generous to another enemy of ours, would we think that they were nice, wonderful people? No, those same qualities that we're pointing out as good qualities now, because those good qualities are shown towards us, we would point out as bad qualities if those qualities were shown towards somebody we didn't like. Okay? Now, when we look at an enemy, we say, oh, that person, you know, oh, they're so nasty, they talk behind other people's back, they create so much disharmony, they lie, and everything. Okay? But if that, and so we say, oh, you know, they're rotten people. Well, that means they're lying to us, they're creating disharmony with us, they're talking behind our back. But if they do those same actions towards somebody else, our rival, our competitor, then what?
They're being direct and honest and
Yeah, then they're being direct and honest and kind and frank. Isn't it? Okay. So how we categorize people, we think we're seeing objective entities, but we aren't. We're fabricating these categories. The emotional reactions are completely coming from us. Invented by our own mind. They're not coming from the other person. Okay, so they're quite unreliable. Also, are these categories fixed and solid? No, they're very changeable, very malleable. First of all, when we were born, everybody was a stranger. Think about that. It's true, isn't it? Now, if we think in our lives, oh, everybody's a stranger, we would feel like so unloved, so alienated. But when we were born, everybody was a stranger. Then what happened? Then some of them became friends. They fed us. Yeah, they turned us over. They changed our diaper. They taught us to talk. They became friends. Yeah. Other people, when we were born, were neutral. Then they went in the enemy category. They stole our marbles. They lied to the teacher, and said we were cheating when we weren't. They were the ones who were cheating. Okay? Or they beat us. Yeah? They physically beat us or something. So we put them in the enemy category. Okay? And so, that people go from stranger, they can easily go to friend, they can easily go to enemy. Same way from friend category. Yeah? You lose touch with somebody, and somebody who was so dear and so precious to you, when you move to another place and you lose touch, then they go into the stranger category. You don't think about them very much. Yeah? Really kind of, yeah. And then some friends can very easily go in the enemy category. Yeah, look at the divorce rate. Yeah, someone who's very dear, then, goes in the enemy category. Then, so people can go from stranger to friend and enemy, from friend to stranger and enemy. They can also go from enemy to friend and stranger. When we were in first grade, we had different enemies. Yeah, chances are most of them are strangers now. We've lost touch. We don't have, any ill will towards a first grade enemy. I hope not. Although, who knows? We may hold on to really strong grudges. Yeah. So some of our enemies became strangers. Some of our enemies may later become friends. We meet them in a different situation. We see a completely different side of them, and we become friends. Yeah. So these relationships are very, very changeable. And how people act towards us, which makes us put them in these different categories, is very changeable. There's two people on either side, Today this person praises me and tells me I'm wonderful, and this person criticizes me. And then tomorrow, this person praises me, and this person criticizes me. Okay? So yesterday this one's friend, that one's enemy. Then today this one's friend, that one's enemy. It doesn't take much, does it? It goes back and forth and back and forth. But when you look at the big picture that everybody has both praised and criticized us, then on what ground can we validate feeling either attachment or hatred for them on a long-term basis? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Yeah, when people have been both kind and mean to us, when these relationships are constantly changing, not only from one lifetime to the next, but even within this lifetime, the relationships are changing, then to favor some against others doesn't make any sense at all. Okay? So when we're meditating on equanimity, you could use any of these lines of reasoning, you know, how they're subjective, you know, and created by our mind, or how, you know, they're impermanent and they can change. But really, when you meditate on this, make specific examples in your life. Think of specific people that you're very attached to. Think of specific people that you just can't endure. You know? And then ask yourself, have I had that kind of relationship with them my whole life? Yeah.
Even within a day.
Yeah. Yeah, even more than a day. So, you know, really investigate that and make specific examples with specific people. Yeah. And it's, you know, as you do this meditation in that way, then you really come to see that, you know, favoring some against others really doesn't make any sense. Feeling close to some and distant from others doesn't make any sense. Having attachment to some, ill will towards others, doesn't make sense. Okay? So what this leads us to is not a feeling of apathy towards everybody, because we also realize that the apathetic response is completely subjective and made up, you know, by our own deluded mind. And that the, you know, the apathetic response is just tuning living beings out as if they didn't exist at all and treating them as objects. So we're not only getting, you know, trying to overcome the attachment and the aversion, but also the apathy. So in doing the meditation, we're not trying to get towards apathy towards everybody. We're trying to get to a sense of equal, open-hearted care and concern for everybody. Not attachment, but care and concern that realizes that they're sentient beings with feelings. Mm-hmm. Questions? Comments? Yeah.
Intellectually knowing that these categories are very subjective and they can bring unhappiness, actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of easy to get that, but when I think of actually kind of evening it all out, there's some trepidation that comes up. It's kind of the same kind of thing when you start talking about emptiness and you get a little feeling in your gut. It's
Okay.
that same level.
Okay, so you understand it intellectually, but when you really start thinking of leveling the playing field, something inside you gets a little scared. Yeah? What's it scared of? What do you think it's scared of?
Unfamiliarity.
Losing, probably losing the hit of the attachment stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the fear can revolve around losing the hit that we get from being attached, or that we even get from being angry. You know, we like attachment, don't we? I am special to somebody, and they are special to me. You know, if everybody's going to be equal, then I'm not special to anybody, and nobody's special to me, and maybe nobody's going to care about me at all. Yeah, nobody's going to protect me. Nobody's going to do anything good towards me unless I have a few special people who I'm certain are going to stick with me through everything. Can you ever find a few special people that are going to stick with you through everything?
We think we can.
We think we can. Can we? No.
But it is part of that grasping insecurity, I think.
Yeah, but it's to think we can, you know, okay, well maybe I don't have everybody, you know, lined up who I can really count on in all situations, but it's possible to do that. Yeah, that thought makes us feel secure even though we're insecure that we haven't found all the people. But thinking that there's no way we can ever get, you know, all the people lined up to support us, encourage us, protect us, love us, or whatever, appreciate us, then it's like, ugh, you know, I'm floating in space here. You know, the specialness, we get a hit out of it, don't we? Yeah? And then similarly, when we don't like somebody, yeah, we get a hit from that too. It's an unpleasant thing, but there's a certain hit. You know, I don't like these people. I'm alive. I'm feel because I don't like. Yeah? And there's something so habituated, so familiar with not liking people, and also blaming our problems on them. If we got rid of the anger towards some people, we would have to stop blaming them, wouldn't we? What do we do if we don't blame others for our unhappiness? That's really scary, isn't it? Really makes you feel like you're floating in space, because it's such an ingrained habit. Yeah, why am I suffering? That person. Yes, why am I suffering? Because the cat just dug her claws into me. It's all your fault. It has nothing to do with the fact that I clung to a deluded body at the end of last life. And if I hadn't clung to this body, you wouldn't have been able to scratch it. Hello, sweetie. Hello, sweetie. Yeah, there was a question?
So, you feel love and compassion for people I like and for strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And for enemies, I feel anger and almost hatred. If I let go of all of those, what's left?
Yeah, what's left?
So I'm asking.
What?
I'm asking.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so your question is, if you let go of the friend and enemy and stranger, what's left? Then you have an open space in which you can generate equal-hearted care and concern for everybody. Then you have a space in which there's the potential to feel related to everybody and never alienated from anybody. Then there's the space in your mind to feel something in common with everybody. Okay? So it's scary because it's unfamiliar. We feel like, you know, we're losing the specialness. We're even losing our identity, because so much of our identity is defined by who we like and who we don't like. You know, and if I don't like and dislike these people, who am I going to be? Yeah, who am I? So, but what it does is it opens up space to really feel connected to everybody. Not on a superficial level that, you know, because they praise me and give me presents, but simply because they want to be happy and not suffer in the same way I do. And it opens the space to see that truth about everybody and really care about them for that reason.
So you would describe it as more empathy than sympathy for people?
Yeah, it opens the space for real empathy and for real compassion and love. Yeah.
When you explain it that way, it seems to take out some of the anxiety, because that's what we're looking for by creating friends, you know, is the genuine connection.
Yeah.
And not finding it. And so that doing that actually leads us to what we wanted anyway.
Right, yeah. So in all of our things that we're doing where we get attached to others, what we're really looking for is connection with other living beings. Okay? The difficulty is the attachment prevents the real connection. When we release the attachment and have more equanimity, then we can develop a steady connection, which isn't going to go up and down and across and everything. Yeah. So it's actually by giving up the attachment, rather than leading us to more insecurity and unhappiness, it's actually going to help us fulfill what we wanted to start with, which is the connection.
And that reminds me of a meditation you gave us some years ago, was the disadvantages of being special. And that has been a really good meditation for me. Like, okay, so now I'm special, but what comes with it?
Yeah.
And you have to look at, oh, how fast do I tap dance to keep it? As soon as one person in a group is special, everybody else gets uncomfortable. Like, oh, they're special, so I'm not. It just starts setting up really anxious line stream.
Yeah. So I remember when we were doing the retreat, and you in particular mentioned, that quality of specialness. They're special to me, I'm special to them, there's specialness there. Yeah, kind of we have a closer, more intimate, special relationship. And then I had asked you to think about what comes along with the specialness. And so you said, how do I have to tap? How fast do I have to tap dance to please that person? So everything we do in an attempt to keep that person liking us so that they don't go away, and how anxiety producing that is. Yeah, and then what happens as soon as one person becomes special, how it changes all of your other relationships. Yeah, either because they're special to you or you're special to them, then it really affects all your other relationships in a way that isn't so good. You often see this, people distance, they glom onto one person and don't pay any attention to their regular friends anymore. Yeah.
Would the goal be for everyone to be special to ourselves, so that we're looking at everybody equally, but each person is special?
Yeah. So could we say that we're trying to make everybody special? If you make everybody special in the same way, if you make people special in different ways, then you're still going to not have very much equilibrium. Yeah.
So be special in the sense that everyone is would like happiness and would like to be free from suffering. So
right.
In that way, that the specialness is equal.
Yeah. If you consider specialness the wish for happiness and to be free of suffering, then everybody is equally special. Okay, but it has to be an equal thing, because as soon as we start making it unequal, then specialness really leads to a lot of difficulties on our relationships, doesn't it? Yeah. How much fear, what do I have to do to attract that person? What do I have to be to keep that person? Oh, they're looking at somebody else. Oh, they're expecting me to call them, but I don't feel like calling them tonight. But if I don't call them, then this is going to happen. Kind of so much stuff inside. Yeah.
Well, when I think about all these technological tools, these toys that are now so prevalent, it's feeding everyone's need to be connected, but it's putting up more barriers because it's feeding the insecurity. So there's no longer trust, that I have this friend. It's that we have to keep creating these scenarios online, and I think everyone just gets more crazy.
Yeah, and so how you're saying how technology has changed our idea of friendship. And sometimes, we think we're making friends with one person, but they're creating a totally artificial personality online. We don't even know who we're friends with. Yeah? It's really rather strange. And then, like you said, we have to keep creating scenarios online. You know, we need their clicks.
Like this, they need to like.
Yeah, we need their like. They got to click on the like. Yeah? And look how many friends I have. But how many of them are real friends? Okay, so this is all really about, you know, seeing people as equal and caring about people in an equal way. Yeah? Because no matter what they look like, how old they are, their socioeconomic class, their political party, whatever, they all want happiness and don't want suffering. Yeah. Okay, let's dedicate.
May the
Spiritual teachers who lead me on the sacred path, and all spiritual friends who practice it, have long life. May I pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. Grant such inspiration, I pray. May the lives of the venerable spiritual masters be stable, and their virtuous actions spread in the 10 directions. May the light of Losong's teachings dispelling the darkness of the beings in the 3 worlds always increase. Guru Ratna Mandala Kaniryatayami. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. In the snowy mountain pure land, you're the source of good and happiness. Powerful Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig, may you stay until samsara ends. May the deeds of explaining and practicing the Dharma, done by groups supporting the teachings and their upholders, who spread the view of dependent arising and non-violent actions in the 10 directions, and especially at Sravasti Abbey in the West Floor.